Welcome once again here on the Regional Radio Sports Network. My name is Paul Condry, President and Founder of the Regional Radio Sports Network. To my immediate left, the legendary Tony Natali. Great to have Coach Natali with us here today as we welcome you to Season 2, Episode 3 of the Tony Natali Show here on the campus of Bethel University in Mishawaka, Indiana. To his left, his much better half.
Yes.
We're great to have Mrs. Natali with us here today, too. So, Tony, first of all, I know it's a busy time of the season with everything going on. I know that our schedule is as crazy as it's ever been with all the dynamics that we have going on. And I know it's got to be crazy for ADs, and I know that you and Andrea, there's a lot of things you got to juggle as being, a team. I know Tiny and I run into the same situation with our business and whatnot. But before we do that, I know golf is underway. Nationals are going down at the NCCAA National Championships. We're finishing up volleyball. We have all kinds of spring or fall sports that are closing up. So give us the landscape as we head into the next season.
Yeah, it's a really busy time right now. I mean, we have all the fall sports are winding down their regular seasons, getting into the postseason, and you have winter sports that are ramping up. Both basketball programs have gone through scrimmages. They have regular season starting in a few days. First swim meet of the year Saturday, so it's just a really busy time. The men's and women's golf team is at Christian Nationals in Florida right now. They're doing great already into day 2. After day 1, both teams were doing very well at the top of the leaderboard. So they're right now getting postseason play started for us.
One of the unique dynamics for you as a former coach in multiple sports, if anybody can relate to this, it's you, is some of the there's always not enough time in the preseason portion of a team season. Perfect example, Steve Draven and company, the men's basketball team, Coach Paulsgrove women's basketball team. There are so many things that happen before you even play a game. And you've practiced against each other. You've played all these scrimmages against each other and things that, quote unquote, don't count. You were so itching to go out and play and get away from all these other stuff. So talk about the anxiety that the basketball coaches are going through, because they certainly understand that.
Oh, for sure. I told Steve last week was the worst week of the year for me when I coached basketball because, you've been going at it for so long, like you said, and you haven't played anybody. So that last week before games is the worst week of the season for sure. The other thing that I learned a lot along the way was you can't have everything put in for that first game. The first game is the first game. So, you have in what you have, but you don't want to cram everything in. You have the whole season to get everything in. So, Steve and I have talked about that a lot, and you just get in what you can, do that well, and then as the time moves on, you just continue to add to it.
One of the things that you were fortunate, you and Coach Lightfoot, the Hall of Famer, understood, because you guys worked together for so many years. And so you guys even – I can't even imagine what it's going to be like both for Coach Paulsgrove as well as Coach Draven, because they have some new assistant coaches. They have all those kind of new moving parts. That's even a crazier time for those guys, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we did have an advantage because we were together for so long. We kind of knew how to make each other mad and how to do things that we needed to do. So it was fun. All the chances we had to continue to build on the year previous. That was a lot of fun.
All right, well, you're going to talk about what it's like, and if anybody knows this conversation that you and I are going to have today, it's you and I, because we both have been very, very blessed to have great Christian women in our lives, people who certainly make an impact, keep us accountable for a lot of things. In addition to that, you just need to be able to work with them in some of the capacities. My wife is my business partner, so I certainly understand the dynamics and all the things that she did. There's not a job that she cannot do for Regional Radio Sports Network, with the exception, I think she would tell you that I don't think I'd be a very good play-by-play person. Outside of that, she would tell you that there's nothing that she can't do, from breaking down film to breaking down equipment, setting up equipment, making sure everybody gets paid, all those moving parts. And same situation with you and Andrea. You guys do a lot of things together. And we haven't even thrown in the part that, hey, listen, I got to go home, and then do we want to talk about this all over again? Right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. I mean, from the very beginning when we first started this journey, having Andrea on my side and just being able to complement everything that we've been able to get done, it's been a true team effort in every single way. So just like you mentioned, I mean, it's not anything I've done. It's something we've done, and everything that we've been able to accomplish, we've done together.
Okay, so let's take us back to when you guys first met and how this journey began, and how many steps along the way have you gone together?
Man, I don't.
Or should I ask Andrea
I
that
don't
question?
know.
Because
I
she
don't-
probably, Andrea, would you remember any of those things?
Well, it started at step one because he was working selling insurance, which is a terrific job, but he just wasn't fulfilled. And he came to me one day, and we had only been married, maybe 1 or 2 years, and he said, I'm not completely fulfilled in what I'm doing. I think I kind of want to get into coaching. And I'm like, coaching? Of course, I knew what sport he was talking about because he loves basketball. That's how it began. And so we talked it over, and we weren't sure how that was going to be accomplished. But he sent out 600 letters. That's back when you had the blue book.
Sure.
And typed up a letter, sent 600 letters out with postage, and he got, I believe it was 2 favorable responses back. One was from Chadron State in Nebraska, and the other one was from Bowling Green, Ohio.
And then?
Went to Bowling Green and was a grad assistant there for a year, and that got everything started. I learned a lot that first year, and it's amazing how God works, because the fact that I could even remotely get into a Division I program without ever playing, I mean, it was a step of faith on their part, and I learned a ton. And then from there, Billy Keller, who's a great friend of mine, played with the Pacers, played at Purdue, was a head coach at University of Annapolis, worked with him for a year. And then there was a coaching change made there, and he got me in at Franklin College with Kerry Prather for 3 years. And that was a great experience. Kerry, Coach Prather, did a phenomenal job in many, many ways. I learned a lot from him. And then first full-time gig I had at a college was with Coach Grimes, John Grimes at Marion. Worked there as actually the head tennis coach, the head track coach, and assistant men's basketball coach for 8 years. And after those 8 years, I knew Coach Lightfoot from the conference. He knew I was from this area, had a lot of ties with recruiting and everything, and he offered me this position, and we made the move up. My parents were still alive, still living at that point, and it was great for them to be around us, that we could be for a while, so that was fun. And the one thing led to another, and here we are 26 years later and still here.
So from when you delegate family members, and you've got another family member, Coach John Natali, sir. Mm-hmm. When you're the tallest hog in the trough, as they say, in this case, when you delegate something to a family member, there's always that unique situation. Well, I'm your brother, I'm your husband, whatever the case may be. Do you understand what I'm asking you to do this? Because you're part of the team. I know that when my children were working for me, I know that, and I still have a couple of them that still do. That's always an adventurous walk that you make with family members. So can you speak to working in the family dynamic with your wife and your brother?
Yeah, I mean, the best example I could think of is even our daughter Cassie, who ran track for me. When she ran track for me, we had a conversation real early that, she's my daughter, and of course I love her more than everybody else on the team. But when it's time for practice and it's time for the meets, she's not my daughter. And the first meet that she was involved with, she went off to use the restroom with a bunch of young ladies, and she knew how we did things, and she came back late, and I kind of ripped into her, and she was surprised. I think Andrea was probably surprised. I know my assistant coaches were surprised.
Stuck in the middle here. I was always stuck in the middle.
But it was good, because she understood that, yes, she's my daughter, but at that point she wasn't. She's on the team. And the same thing with Andrea. She does camp and everything else, she knows how I feel about her, but when it's camp stuff and we're working together on that, it's Bethel, and we want to do the best job we can for Bethel. So,
Andrea, talk about, I know that's your subspecialty, if you will, is working and kind of delegating the camps. Can you talk about how that kind of plays into the big picture of education-based athletics here at Bethel?
Well, first of all, I love doing camp. It's a great experience for the kids as they come in, and they learn a lot from their coaches, coaching staff. And when I say staff, it's not only the assistant coaches of the coach whose camp it is, but it's also the athletes as well. So, they're able to pour in, and I get to see that on a daily basis all summer long. Camps start beginning of June. They go through the end of July. So for 8 weeks, this place is crazy. It's loud. It's energetic. It's so much fun. And it's a quiet time on the rest of the campus because all the students are gone. But yes, they come in, they learn a lot, and we see repeats all the time.
One of the things, Tony, you and I have talked about several times on this program is the fact that looking back when we first started the program, that you guys were able to maintain camps during the COVID period, and we feel that that is probably one of the things that really helped keep the camps being consistent, keeping the camps still in a growth mode. And I think a lot of that has to do with Andrea's calming presence and allowing things to say, hey, listen, you know what, we're going to take care of all the business at hand. We're going to take care of all the things necessary to follow the guidelines. And so that had to be a very, very pivotal part, wasn't it?
Oh, for sure. And you're exactly right. The COVID time when we made the decision to do what we did with camps was huge for us. I mean, nobody had camp, and the fact that Andrea was able to navigate that time and, like you say, do it in a calm way and reassure these parents that, we're not doing this haphazardly. We're taking care of their kids. And the best example I could think of is Coach Bray at Notre Dame. I mean, his kids that he had come to camp, I remember him having a conversation right through the doors talking about how he wished he could have had camp during that time and how it was great we were doing it, but we were doing it the right way. And I feel really good with the way Andrea handled that, the way Sarah, our trainer, handled that. There was a lot of work that went into that summer, but that definitely catapulted us to another area when it comes to camp, and Andrea's had to deal with that because our numbers have grown over the years.
When you look back on that, Andrea, was that probably the most challenging time as being the person who heads up all the camp dynamics here?
It was. But we weren't fearful. I wasn't fearful because we just had a good team here working together, and we had good protocols put in place. And the parents who did send their children were, they were ready to get their kids out. So they had confidence and faith in us, and we put them at ease. And I remember we had a station right over there by the doors that someone donated it, thankfully, checked their temps as they came in. And we had a record of temperatures every day, and we just had such good protocols in place and spacing with bleachers and where they're going to sit and eat their lunch. And, we had to make sure that all of that was enforced. And we did not have one single problem that summer.
When you look at the development of the camps over the years, and I'll look back, if you will, Tony, I talked with Coach Draben a week or so ago on my radio show, and he told me that he remembers coming as a student athlete over to come to the Bethel camps when he was a young guy in grade school and junior high and those kind of things. And he's certainly, now that he's the runs the men's camp, the boys camps, father-son camps, and whatever you have there, he's think that was one of the most pivotal times. So going off to these camps are pivotal, especially when you have the opportunity to maybe do a father-son or a father-daughter, whatever the case may be. That's a really neat opportunity and experience for the kids, as well as the parents.
For sure. I mean, these kids that come to our camp, it is pretty amazing because they get the spiritual component that all of our coaches do at all of our camps, but they understand what hard work's about. They understand what everything's about, and these kids are really impressionable at that age. Great examples, we're taking a walk in our neighborhood, and a young man is with his wife pushing a baby carriage, and he walked by us, and he said, "You're Coach Natali." And I said, yeah, of course I didn't remember him. And he said, I'd been to your basketball camps all these years. And he said, I talked to my wife about them all the time. I learned what hard work was about. I learned about what Christ was about. He said, that was my first exposure to all of that. And he said, I use that now. He works in business. He said, I use that in my businesses right now. So it's amazing the impact that these coaches, and I tell them all the time, the student athletes that are here working with these kids every week, they have a tremendous amount of responsibility.
Andrea, what's been the most rewarding part from your chair as kind of the quarterback of all the camps here? Is it just the interaction with the athletes? Is it interaction with the parents? Is it interaction and just getting to see kid come in maybe as a 5-year-old and then see him leave as a 12 or 13-year-old? Because when you've been doing this as long as you have, you get a chance to see how much they grow up. What's been the most rewarding thing for you?
Well, all of the above.
Yeah.
Everything that you just said. I think I've just finished, my 10th year. I've noticed a lot of change in those 10 years. But one thing is the same, is all of these kids, they love coming to camp. Like I said, I love the energy. The parents are excited to come. I get a ton of emails. So I've kind of built a relationship before they even walk in the door. And it's about everything that you can imagine, questions, and I understand that because, they want to know what they're paying for. They want to know that their child is taken care of during the day, what they're going to learn, et cetera, So I would say I love the camaraderie through the email, and then when they walk in the door for registration, I can put a face to the name, and then like you said, I've seen the names on paper on my computer. I put a face and a name together, and then that carries on throughout several years, actually. And so that's just really rewarding. It's just such a fun time.
How many campers do you think, Tony, have gone through the camps here through the years? You guys keep a running total on that, do you?
Andrew keeps a total of that.
How many have you had a chance to get intertwined with here, Andrea?
Well, this past summer was probably one of our largest camps, and it was close to 900.
Wow.
And that spread across, 22, 23 camps. Mm-hmm. But we definitely have some camps that pull in more kids than others. Some are smaller, which is okay. They get more one-on-one experience. But it just continues to grow, and the word gets out. And I think that the camps are they're organized. They're faith-based. The coaches give a devotion, and that's important to a lot of people. And for the people that it's not important to, it's nice because it's a ministry to those as well. So,
yeah, for the first time this summer, we had to put a cutoff to a camp.
Wow.
And we've never had to do that, but we had so many people signing up, we just ran out of space, so we had to put a cutoff on it.
Have you thought about doing camps that you don't have sports here for?
Not really. Space is the biggest issue.
So if I say I want to have a football camp here at Bethel University,
we'll figure it out. We'll find a way. We'll find a way.
There's always
a way.
Always thinking about those kind of things.
Yep.
When you look at the other dynamic about the camp, I think is really exciting, is that the student athletes who are playing athletics here, they get a chance to be assistant coaches. They get a chance to kind of get their feet wet. They get a little taste of what it's like to be able to be a coach. There's one thing to be running up and down the floor during open gym and blowing a whistle here or there, but when you get a chance to minister to a younger kid, and let's face it, I mean, these kids that are here on campus, just maybe 5 or 6, 7 years ago, they were in that same situation at a camp. May not have even been this camp. I think it's neat, Tony, for those athletes to be able to give back and understand that, hey, listen, this may be a career choice for me is to go into coaching.
Well, and it happens all the time. I mean, we have so many kids that have gone through the camp system who have come to Bethel as athletes, number one. And then I think of the kids that when I ran camp, I think of Landon Booker, who developed tremendous relationships with these young kids. And these kids would come back to games and watch him play, and they would hang out by the locker room just waiting for him to come out. And Landon really took that seriously. I mean, he really knew the mentorship he had with those young kids, and really took that job seriously, and was a tremendous mentor to those kids.
Andrea, talk about the camps that you have on tap for here in 2025. Men's and women's basketball. What else you got going on?
Well, men's and women's basketball. We have tennis, men's and women's soccer. We have lacrosse, cheerleading.
Men's and women's volleyball's big one still.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Yep.
How can I forget that one?
Yep.
And we have several, like men's basketball has 4 camps. Women's basketball has 2 to 3 camps. Cheer has 1 camp. I mean, it depends on what the need is for. If we have a lot of kids who sign up, then if there's a space available, we try to supply another camp.
What's the most common question parents ask about the camp?
What do I bring?
Okay.
Yeah, and well, everything's on the website, but like I said, it gives us an opportunity to just establish that rapport and get to know them. And I just got 2 emails because this is my off season. So people think that I'm working full time. It's a seasonal job. It usually starts January, ends in July. But I got 2 emails. One's asking she wants her daughter to take some lessons, like some volleyball lessons. So I'm the interim person that she doesn't really know who to go to. So I connect her with, Coach Dregetz.
Okay.
And then I had another email from a basketball family, boys basketball, who needed some paperwork. So, this is my home away from home. I don't mind doing it. So, it's done and it's in the mail, so it's all good.
All right. If someone wants to, I know I plan, Coach, you know this, I plan a year in advance because this is the way we kind of run our business, because we have about a 5-week window where we have a little bit of downtime. As soon as we send the Indiana Football Digest book off to the printer, we take a couple weeks off and go out to Maine and do our thing. But after that, I mean, you come right back after it and you get after it. And so there's a lot of things. I spend a lot of my summer times working on administrative stuff that I don't even do when Paul becomes the sportscaster guy. So give us an idea on if someone is interested in zeroing in and booking those dates or getting some of those ideas. What's the best way you want them to be in contact with you, Andrea or Tony? What are you guys thinking about that for this upcoming this upcoming summer?
Well, first of all, we get our schedule set back in late summer for the
following
year.
Good for you.
And so we know what that is. It's a process. I get with our IT department, and they're very gracious in accommodating us. And Luke Schrock, our SID, he puts the brochure together. I get IT going because we have to have a form stack, to keep track of names, ages, money. And but really, once everything is all set, which is usually end of January, mid-February, I send all of that out. I send the brochure out to everybody that has attended camp for the last couple of years, and that's usually where it starts. I have a lot of people who, communities like, Penn Harris Madison or the Mishawaka Education Foundation, they do silent auctions. Churches do silent auctions where they are asking for some donations. So we donate camps at half off. We run what's called Super Saving Socials, which is like coupons through Pulse FM, where they can get up to 50% off. So, it's coming and going from all ends. There's needs out there for people who are in a financial bind sometimes. We do offer financial assistance. So it's just a myriad of a
lot of moving parts.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Tony, all available on the website?
All available on the website. It'll all be up that beginning of February for sure.
All right, so if you get any information on Bethel summer camps coming up, Andrea is the person of contact. Tony, I am sure at some point in time he'll also be the backup person of contact, just like Tanya Condry is the backup person of contact for Regional Radio Sports. Well, that's going to do it for our program here today. Thanks for joining us here for Episode 3 here in Season 2 of the Tony Natali Show for the legendary Tanner Camp. I'm Paul Condry. Thanks for joining us here from the YCAB Athletic Center just outside the Gates Gymnasium, and we're on the Regional Radio Sports Network.